Good morning and welcome to our Sunday worship. My name is Mary and I'm your worship associate today. Today we have a special presentation in celebration of Canada's Indigenous Peoples Day. And this service was organized by members of our Truth and Reconciliation Action Group and our Justice and Equality Action Group. We acknowledge that our FirstU campus is located on traditional, unsurrendered, and unceded Algonquin and Anishinaabe territory, and that the work of reconciliation is a responsibility of our congregation and of all Canadians. Our goal is to educate ourselves and all those that have the willingness to understand, to be of service to those who are at risk, and to advocate for justice. You are probably aware of some of the artists we will be featuring today, but some may be new to you. To open our service, we will show a video called Tiny Hands by Tangle. Now, Tangle is a Juno Award-winning Canadian Indigenous musical group who combine traditional Inuit throat singing, spoken word storytelling, with blues-influenced folk rock, and they are based in Yellowknife. The group's music investigates systemic racism, endeavors to unsettle ubiquitous colonial ideologies, and aims to empower marginalized groups. In addition to making music, Tangle facilitates a series of school workshops and performances on the topic of Indigenous issues in Northern Canada. And now for your enjoyment, Tangle and Tiny Hands. So I'm sorry we had some glitches there. I hope you were able to maybe follow along with the words here at least and see what was done. We heard several times the intro and the chorus, and maybe I'll just read for you verse 1. What have you seen in your short, long life? What did those tiny hands do? Stretching, scraping, fixing, and making, bending the skins that our souls fit within, stitching, nothing can undo. What have you seen in your short, long life? What has your heart overcome? The traditional ways that are hidden away can be revived by the beat of a drum. So very, very powerful. I'm sorry that there were a few glitches, but that perhaps shows how much we need to have an upgrade on our electronic system, and hopefully we have enough money to do so, and if not, you might want to add a little bit more. So I'd like now to invite Penny and her brother Ted to come on up, because they're going to light our chalice. And so if you just hang on one moment, I'm going to read a little bit, and then it'll be your turn. Today we'll be featuring poems from the book Mean Gun, and this is Mean Gun, which means My Village. And these are poems written by Canadian Inuit children. And I'm going to read the first one here. I'm sorry, Penny and Ted, I'll get with you in a moment. Oops, maybe I won't be with you in a moment. It's gone. Huh. Well, just hang on. It's not gone forever, but it's just disappeared. Okay, this is called Climbing Onto a White Spruce. And here's the picture. So Penny and Ted, I'll show you first. And this is a picture of the author. You can see he's a young boy. And his name is John Derrick. Climbing onto a white spruce in front of the blue sky, I hear the gathering, the joy, and the friendship, almond of the summer. So that is by John Derrick. So now we're ready to light the chalice. Would you like to do this? Thank you, Penny. And now Ted will do his job. Fabulous. Thank you so much. Oh, that's good. Okay, thank you very much, Penny and Ted. So our chalice is lit, and these, by the way, are the grandchildren of Lisa, sitting in the second row, a very proud grandmother. Now we invite Jody to read to us our children's story, Still This Love Goes On, by Buffy, Sainte-Marie.
Good morning. So it's Still This Love Goes On by Buffy Sainte-Marie and illustrated by Julie Vett. Sat beside a beaver dam and watched the winter grow. Ice was hard with little tracks appearing on the snow. Fog is in the valley now, and all the geese have gone. Across the moon I saw them go, and still this love goes on and on. Still this love goes on. Once I saw the summer flowers turn the fields to sun. Up and down the mountainside I watched the summer run. Now the fields are muffled in white and snow is on the dawn. Morning comes on shivering wings, and still this love goes on, and still this love goes on. In every dream I can smell the sweet grass burning, and in my heart I can hear the drum. And hear the singers soaring, and see the jingle dancers. And still this love goes on, and still this love goes on. Fancy dancer come up north to see some friends of his, fell in love in a powwow town, and you know how that is. Beaded girls and painted ponies turn your life around. And now you're singing Kissakichtin, ha ha ha, on and on. On and on and on and on, and in every dream I can smell the sweet grass burning, and in my heart always hear the drum. And hear the singers soaring, and see the jingle dancers. And still this love goes on, and still this love goes on.
Good morning. I'm Phil Nagy from the board. I have some announcements. This Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., the counselor for Bay Ward, Teresa Kavanaugh, is hosting a community consultation on FirstU's campus development project. If you live nearby and wish to express your concerns or your support or hear from others, please consider attending. This is a hybrid meeting. You can join in person here at 30 Cleary, or register to attend virtually from the Bay Ward Bulletin website. For all singers, if you like singing, come try the summer choir. FirstU Summer Choir meets at 9:45 on Sundays throughout the summer months to prepare the hymns and rehearse an easy anthem for the 10:30 service. Ask Kirk, our music director, for details. From the Renewal Task Force, the Wi-Fi work is about to start, just in time, and we are purchasing the camera equipment for Worship Hall. We're going to try out 2 different ones and buy 2 of the one that suits us best, and they'll be mounted at the back. They won't be mobile. The camera will cost a bit more than originally planned, but it will save money by cutting the cost of backlighting control in the daytime and better lighting in the evenings. And finally, mark this date, September 7th. September 7th. It is Thursday of the first week of school, and you don't have to cook. The fish fryer and chipmunk from Kingston is coming back with his delicious fish dinners. Eat in or take out, September 7th. Details to follow. And now here's Donna from the Environmental Action Group.
Hi, everybody. Just want to mention that there's a Canada's Burning protest coming up next week on Thursday. There was one held at 2 o'clock in Vanier and one at 10:30 in Orleans. And if you want to know more about that, go to 350.org and you can find out the information and sign up for that. For the rest, we're winding down for the summer. And the Environmental Action Group wishes for you a season of reflection and renewal, and hopefully we won't have quite as much smoke as today, but we'll see. Keep an eye on the climate action page over the summer. Do take a look at the personal enrichment section. We have lists of books to read, podcasts to listen to, webinars to watch. And keep watch also for the upcoming events over the summer and some new good news items. Anyway, everybody have a happy summer, and we'll see you in September.
If you don't already subscribe to the EUU, we urge you to subscribe. Drop a note to welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca and tell them you want the newsletter. Wherever you have been, wherever you are going, however you identify, and whomever you love, today you are welcome here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Phil, Donna. At this time, each time we gather, we pause in recognition of the challenges and sorrows and celebration in our lives. And if you have been here in the pre-COVID years, if we can remember those things, you'll notice that the table, we've got a table set up that's normally not there. The practice, as I've been told, and I trust this, is that people would come forward and place their own stones in a bowl of water. We are not wanting to keep the stones from you. So, if you have a joy or sorrow, please feel free to come forward now. We'll make 2 lines. Place your stone in the bowl of water. Notice the ripples going out and expanding beyond, just as our care does each and every day. Let me also say, as you're preparing to come down, we have caring cards this week as well. They are at the back of the hall for you to sign, either before or after the service. There is a caring card for Phyllis, who is recovering from pneumonia. Even if you don't know Phyllis, your name on a card to her will symbolize another person who recognizes that every person here is truly special, needed, and loved. Please come forward. Kirk will play some music now.
The second reading I have is again from Mingon, my village. This time I know where it is. And although it says in your program that this is by Tiffany, Olivia, and so on, I see another name here, and this is Pishumas. So by Pishumas, Tiffany, Olivia, Selena, Jeff, and Carrie Ann. And a picture of perhaps one of them. Quite a long poem. I hear the wind, breath of toucan, pushing an eagle in the air. The clouds carry stories of snow and wind, of sky and sun, of moon and stars, of rainbows and auroras borealis. The animals hide under fir trees. The dogs tell us, we want to come inside with you. If I were a wolf in the forest, I would take refuge in a log. The ice breaks hard, a freezing fog from the snow and the wind. When the storm blows on the clouds, brilliant stories in the blue sky.
Thank you, Mary. And as Mary said, today we are celebrating the many Canadian Indigenous artists, musicians, and poets across many generations who have contributed to Canada's culture by their artwork as well as their manifest desire to improve the situation for Indigenous children and youth. Earlier we had the opportunity to hear Buffy Sainte-Marie's wonderful children's story and hear it in song. Buffy Sainte-Marie, now aged 82, is one of the best-known Canadian-American Indigenous singer-songwriters. She was born in Qu'Appelle Valley, Saskatchewan, and was adopted by an American couple in Maine. A strong advocate for Indigenous people for many generations, she was one of the first public figures to use the word genocide in describing the treatment of Indigenous children and people in North America. Sainte-Marie founded the nonprofit fund Nihiwan Foundation and its Cradleboard teaching project, focusing on raising test scores in subjects and creating a knowledge base about Indigenous people and cultures in many American schools. Best known as a singer, Buffy Sainte-Marie has won many awards, including an Academy Award for co-writing the hit song Up Where We Belong. She also won the Polaris Music Prize for the album Power in the Blood, and she was winner of a Juno Humanitarian Award in 2017. Another Canadian Innu artist that many of you may be familiar with is Susan Aglukark, who became famous on the Canadian charts in the 90s. Now 56, Aglukark has recently been awarded a special humanitarian award for the Arctic Rose program, where she has brought the arts to children and youth in northern schools. These programs include a safe place to hang out after school, a meal program, an opportunity to express themselves, the children, through writing, music, and art. Here is a video presentation about the Arctic Rose program. Julia?
do, the word that I come back to, the word that's important to me is kiheni, which simply means because we must. We have a duty to share the things that we have learned, the ways that we are getting better as Indigenous artists, Inuit artists, and that's just the simple answer. We have to do this work. We have to do it. Kiheni.
We have to do this work. Tunchai Redvers is a Dene and Métis two-spirit writer, creator, speaker, and multidisciplinary performer belonging to the Denunuku First Nation in Treaty 8 territory. With a background in international development, civil engagement, and global citizenship, as well as Indigenous social work, they have been nationally and internationally recognized for their work and advocacy. At the age of 21, Tunchai and their brother Kelvin founded We Matter, a national Indigenous-led campaign and nonprofit dedicated to the Indigenous youth hope and life promotion. We Matter has become an international model for Indigenous youth life promotion efforts, garnering the Redvers siblings the Lawson Foundation's Emerging Leaders Award and earning a Governor General's Meritorious Service Award. The We Matter campaign started with Tunchai posting a spoken word poem and inviting others to post their own stories and messages of hope. There were immediate results from across the country, with over 20,000 Indigenous persons posting their own videos. We thought we'd share one such video with you today. This is Melanie Mark, a Vancouver MLA, the first Indigenous woman to be elected to the British Columbia legislature, who participated in the project. Julia, another video?
My name is Melanie Mark. I'm Niska, Gitxsan, Cree, Ojibwe, French, and Scottish. I'm also the member of the Legislative Assembly for Vancouver Mount Pleasant. On February 2nd, I made history by becoming the first First Nations woman to serve in the legislature. And really, intentional, because I've always been an advocate for young people. My whole career, I've always worked with young people, and especially kids that are at risk.
Lisa suggested that I follow up that with some sort of a summary. When asked to follow such a message, I always think back to a line in one of his songs on Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run album, talking about the street life that he was a part of in his younger years. The poets down there write nothing at all. They just stand back and let it all be. What can you say to follow such a witness? What I can say is this: as a settler among settlers, it's clear to me that there has been a deep, fundamental misunderstanding. When Jesus is quoted as saying, "Wherever two or more of you will be, there I will be as well." That's a rough translation. I think we forgot that when we're dealing with members of our own species, wherever two or more will be, you will find a rich culture. And that the settlers who came here, in large part at least, justified the genocide by saying there was no culture here and they needed to be enriched with European values. It could have been so different if we, as a settler, I say this, as the indigenous peoples here, if they had been approached with curiosity and respect. That sense that there was no culture or culture worthy of that name in the peoples of this land is a grave violence, both to the people who were here, and it's something that impoverished the settlers themselves. They could have learned so much more so quickly if they had given respect and listened and appreciated, even if they didn't understand, to take it in and say, maybe someday I will. Our job, among the many things we are called to do in our lives, is to help, even in small ways, heal some of these wounds, to re-enrich ourselves and our friends and neighbors by still being curious, still listening, reaching out for other voices, the voices of those who are descended of the original inhabitants of this land. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. This is work that this congregation has voted to begin doing as we're working with the Ontario Aboriginal Housing Services, who will manage housing just out there in a few years. It's not going to be immediate. There's going to be a lot of messy construction first. But the goal of being, actually it's going to make it easier for us in some ways, because our neighbors will be next door. And they deserve folks like us listening and taking in what they have to teach us. That is good work, my friends. That is good work. I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.
Our congregation relies on your generosity as much as ever. And whether you're here in Worship Hall or anywhere else, you are part of this community. To make a gift in support of the work of this congregation, you may have already used the baskets that passed around among our pews. If not, or in addition, if you are invited to go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how to make a donation or keep up with your pledge. Our gifts are freely given and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this community of faith, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another.
Thank you, Mary. Before we begin to close this time of worship and reflection, a reminder that coffee hour will take place in Fellowship Hall immediately after the service. For those watching from home, an informal online fellowship hour will begin at noon. You can find the Zoom link on our website or in Friday's electronic EUU. Also, leafy greens, courtesy of the good folks of Ajaski, who I meant to mention earlier, my apologies, are available for those who would like them, some in the grow towers in the room out there adjacent to Fellowship Hall. We extinguish our chalice this morning from this poem, our final one this morning, by the young Inuit writer Devon. Here is his picture. I think of the moose, of the partridges and the trout. While I am in the forest, I walk barefoot in water as cold as snow. I dive in the lake. I swim with thousands of fish. Our chalice is extinguished, but our connections and faith remain. Let us sing together with some expert help, Spirit of Life.
Our final Canadian artist that we'd like to feature is iskwē, meaning blue sky woman in Ojibwe. Iskwē is a Juno Award-winning singer-songwriter originally from Winnipeg. Her first album focused on missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada and has been featured on the Netflix series Between. Here is her song, Healers.